Stand up, please. Can everyone hear me?
Yep.
Stand and settle into your legs. Settle into the weight of your bones. If you're already in the pace of smelling breath and face breathing, continue with that. And if you aren't, find it now. Let your breath broaden, become slower. Take the effort from the tip of your nose back behind the bones of your face. As you do that, imagine that you're drawing your vision back with your breath as well. So your senses are drifting back towards the back of your skull. Get the sense of what your senses are experiencing, swirling in the cave of your skull. Bring two hollow fists behind your ears, 3 hits. Sides of the neck, collarbones, sternum, belly, hip creases, kidneys, left armpit, right armpit, left elbow, right elbow, left wrist, right wrist. Soften the knees as you relax the arms. Listen for the echoes of your touch and turn the volume up. Take a long swallow, follow it as far down as you can. Do that once more and imagine that you're able to make yourself heavier as if the swallow can press down into the floor beneath you. Bring your thumb to your low ribs, your index finger to the top of your pelvis. And the same as we do in tortoise, hug the elbows back so the upper arms are squeezing into the ribs. Keep the knees soft, deepen the groins, and lengthen your ribs away from your pelvis without straightening your legs. Keep the squeeze of the elbows, but imagine that you're breathing your arms apart with the power of your breath without losing any length. Keep the groins deep. Deep breath. Soft knees grow longer from the inner axis, from the path of your swallow. Let the bottom ribs remain contained. Let the armpit ribs widen. Imagine your tortoise shell growing. 2 more deep breaths. Keep the sense of longness. Relax the arms. Bring one fist to the top of your skull. Bring the other hand over it. Soften the knees. Deepen the groins. Press down and grow longer against the push down. 2 deep breaths. Stay as long as you can. Contain the low ribs. Breathe the armpit ribs wide. Stay long, relax the arms. Again, soft knees, thumb to the low ribs, index finger to the top of the pelvis. Hug the elbows back so the arms are squeezing in. With the knees still soft, lengthen ribs away from pelvis. Keep the groins deep. Contain the low ribs, broaden the top ribs, the armpit ribs. And stay as long as you can in this position as we do double breath. Ready? Begin. 2 inhales. Strong exhale. 2 inhales. Strong exhale. Continue. The end of your next exhale, stay long, press everything out. Hold at the bottom of your exhale, keep your length. Take a slow inhale. And as you exhale, relax the arms. Allow the natural tides of your breath to return. As the waters settle, listen with your skin. Let the eyes open and come back to your seat. As you find your seat, notice
Somehow you're much quieter now.
much quieter. Let's keep the noise removal for now. Is that better on the volume? Yeah. Yeah, we'll keep it like that. Well, adjustments, the things that we do after a deep experience, they can be useful. Sometimes they're a way of avoidance, a way of avoiding tension or avoiding the unfamiliar to try to contain it within something familiar. So we do a practice, the intensity rises to a certain place. We're out of the intensity of the experience. And there's the tendency or the urge to adjust and move and settle. For now, feel that desire, but resist the urge to move. So sit in whatever the experience is for a bit longer before you let it dissipate with adjustment. Close your eyes for a moment. Maintain the feeling of your weight. Find the dragon tails. Now, the dragon tails are two things. There's the bony marker, which is the sitting bones back or the hips back. But then there's the tissue quality, which is a deepening of the groins. So once you've felt the bony markers enough, rely more on the tissue markers, the deepening of the groins. And let your low belly lift and lengthen from there. Keep that length and find the halo anchor. Allow the back of the first rib to drop. The front of the first rib to lift. Find the containment of the low ribs. And expand into the armpit ribs, opening the space between each rib. The power of your breath. Continue your breathing downwards, maintaining the four refinements. Grow tall from the inside. Find as much length as you can between your ribs and your pelvis. Let the shoulders remain heavy. And for the next minute in silence, continue to find these. And without releasing it quickly, allow yourself to rest from within that. So first, let go of anything extra, anything overdone, anything extreme. Let go of anything at the surface. And let a shadow of all of this remain in the background that you can almost drape yourself over. And let your eyes stay soft or allow them to slowly open, but stay within that experience. Part of what we're doing is can be seen as an internal mapping, a mapping of something that was lost. And the same way that a map does not create the territory, what we're doing isn't creating anything new from within the body. It's a rediscovery. So it's a discovery and a mapping, and discovery and a mapping, and that's an appropriate way to look at this. Now, many of you may have heard this me say this story before, but in the Kabbalist tradition, there's a creation story where Ein Sof, the the deity before creation, in order to make space for creation, the first act was a withdrawal. Had to withdraw itself in order to create space for the other. And then once it withdrew, the vessel was created, and then light was poured into this vessel, but the light was too much for the vessel to contain. So the vessel, not being strong enough or sturdy enough to hold the light, shattered. And the shattering exploded the shards of this vessel in all directions in the universe, scattered them everywhere. But each of these little shards of the vessel contained a bit of that light, the light of consciousness, the light of creation, however you want to frame that. And part of the work of existence as a being, is to collect once again the shattered pieces of that vessel and to bring them back in. There's also the myth of Osiris, the dismembering of Osiris. And after the dismembering of Osiris, the shards of the body were scattered in the underworld. And it was the work of Isis and Horus to recollect the the broken body, the pieces of the broken body of the old god, and put them back together. And in that recreation, to breathe new life into the kingdom. Because in the stories, old gods always have to die. Old gods have to die in order to make space for the new. In our traditions, that's not uh, explicit, let's say, but it's implicit if you look closely, as there's a development of the gods. Now, I say that myth because in the ways that we're connecting to the body, there's a deep mythic connection to what we're doing, to collecting the scattered pieces of ourselves, the things that we've disconnected from within our human capacity, to let go of what was old, what no longer serves the way that we experienced ourselves prior, so that something more could be seen and be experienced. The heart anchor, the heart anchor. Now, in Floridas, we speak or attempt to speak in a way, or speak of the world in a way that is true, and that leads to a lot of questions. The most obvious one is what is something that is true? What does the word true mean? And there's different etymologies of the word true. One is faithful, true north, or to remain true to someone. But the true that we're speaking of is difficult to place, because depending on what our perception, what our vantage point is what is true. For example, is a myth true? Well, a myth contains something that's true in pattern, regardless of whether the details of the myth can be verified objectively and externally or not. Uh, so the word true has different connotations. And when I say true, I'm attempting to keep our language true across planes, meaning that it's true anatomically, it's true metaphorically, it's true experientially. So when we speak about the heart anchors, it has that experiential truth where there is internal connections, where we can feel, when we connect to it, we can feel this access point in the heart and where it anchors. But it's also true when we're talking about the anatomy. And here's an image, here's a diagram of of the heart with some things highlighted for you. So the big part in the middle there, the big part in the middle here is that, I guess, peach colored part in the middle. That's the heart with all these green lines attached to it and coming out of it. The red part underneath the heart is the diaphragm. And then there's ribs, and on the left side, those bony things right there are the vertebra. And now the green that you see are different ligaments, different connections that the heart has. And I'm saying the heart, but it's really the pericardium. It's the container of the heart, the bag that holds the heart. And you can see where the heart is anchored, is held in all directions by these different fibers and connections. And the thickest part of these connections, some of them go back towards the spine. So the heart has some fascial connections that actually do anchored back towards the front of the spine. There's also, so you can see the thickness there where the heart is actually anchored to the diaphragm. So when we move the diaphragm and when we move our bodies, our heart is actually being tugged and pulled. And it works the other way around. The movement of the heart actually affects how much we're able to move our body. There's a concept or a term, motility. Motility means different things, but one of the things that motility means is the movement of organs, the capacity of organs to move within our bodies. And our organs, in order to be healthy, need some range of motion from within our body. The heart is no different. It needs to be able to move. So when we're speaking of the anchoring of the heart, we're talking about the ability to maintain this internal connection back. So the back of the body remains full, even as we're broadening and opening the chest. One thing that is very common is that when we go to lift, we've already talked about this in different ways. When we go to lift the front, we collapse and close down the back. So instead of increasing our volume, increasing our capacity or depth front to back and side to side, all we're doing is maintaining the same volume and moving it in this way instead of it being this broadening and deepening of the capacity of the entire vessel itself to hold more. The connections on the back. This may be too much information. This may be more information than you need for the experience, but if you're an anatomy geek and you want to know the connections, the fascial connections, let's say the connections, because some of the connections are also nerve connections and some other connections. They go from the cervical spine, but they also go down a few vertebrae onto the thoracic spine. So you can think your lower cervical spine and your upper thoracic spine are the connections of the heart. If you think about where your rhomboids are, so your two shoulder blades are on your back this way, and the rhomboids are connected and go underneath your shoulder blades. The connection of the heart touches into where the rhomboids are on the back. So you'll hear me say things as I'm asking you to maintain that sense, almost as if your heart is being suctioned back towards the front of your spine. A sense of it filling out the rhomboids, filling out the space between the shoulder blades on your back, especially the upper shoulder blades on your back. So when we're moving from the front is almost easier to access that sense of, okay, my heart's drawing back. But what I'm trying to maintain as I move from here is the sense of fullness between the upper shoulder blades that keep that feeling of heart anchor. A little bit more detailed here. The heart is tethered to the back even as the chest opens forward. It's a simple way of saying what I just said. The heart is tethered to the back even as the chest opens forward. The anatomy. Vertebropericardial ligaments connect the heart's envelope to the thoracic spine. The heart is not free floating, it is anchored to the back of the body structurally. The rhomboids are filled. The heart anchors to the back even as the chest broadens forward into the armpit ribs. The back holds, the rhomboids stay full, the front opens. Chest opening without the heart anchor collapses the back. With it, the front and the back move together. The vessel holds in both directions simultaneously, so we're able to maintain some of the fullness of the shape, even as we move. We'll play with this or experience this more when we're doing our proto ritual. Later, we have the arms open, the capacity to maintain this sense of the heart anchoring back, even as it beams forward or shines forward or expands forward, let's say. Place one hand on your sternum. You're not going to be able to place, unless you're extremely flexible, you're not going to be able to place one hand on your thoracic spine where the heart anchor is, but you can bring one hand, the back of one hand as high as you can. Now, first, allow the front of your chest to collapse. Imagine that you're taking the heart and pulling it so you feel an experience of fullness happening into your backhand. Now keep that sense of anchoring. Allow the front of your chest to widen, the collarbones to widen, and expand forward into your front hand while attempting to maintain some of the connection into the space between your rhomboids and the fullness of your backhand. Deepen your groins. And notice how, if you're not careful, the deepening of the groin can also cause that part of the vessel to be lost. Now, deep breaths into this. Keep attempting to broaden across your chest. Lift the sternal notch, drop the back of the halo, maintaining the sense of your heart being suctioned in to the front of your spine. Whenever we're teaching movement in fluidus, we're always opposing the movement in some way. So whenever something is moving in one direction, there's something that's restricting the movement in the other direction. And this is where grace comes from. This is where refined and graceful movement comes from. It's not that everything is so flexible that it's flopping around and it leaves your control. It's that there's always a little bit of something holding back that you have to fight against. Think of it this way. If you were drawing fine line work, you may even want to hold your hand with the other hand to give it a little bit of resistance as you're trying to do very tiny micro movements. It's that resistance that gives us a quality of control and grace and refinement as we move. But that in a body that's expressing itself from its full capacity, that's happening organically. The fascial tension, the living balloon tensions in the body, it's like you're always working against an elastic that's trying to pull you back to center, pulling you back home. We're not trying to get rid of that feeling of being drawn back home, but we want it to be enough that it feels like whenever I release a movement, there's almost a feeling that my movement can snap back to center. That's the quality that we're looking for. And then the building of strength is the capacity to have both things happen at the same time, to develop the strength of the anchor and then the strength to push against that anchor. So you're thinking, where does the power of my arms comes from? It's not just the ability to reach, but it's the ability to resist that from center. So all of this is happening from that midline, from that central axis that's trying to pull everything back to center like a spring. That's spring loaded in your midline and coming back to that. Two ways to create pressure. There's two ways to create pressure, at least two ways. One, if I was to add more pressure to this balloon or more elasticity to the walls of this balloon, one way that I could do it is to increase the volume. The more breath I add, the more elastic capacity that I bring to the balloons. Another way to add more tension to the walls to create more of that elastic recoil is to stretch the walls of that balloon. To stretch from that same stretch, I also get more elastic capacity. So increasing the volume, squeezing the sides of the waist in, do that for a moment. Bring your hands, this we've been doing from day one, squeeze in. And now use the pressure of your breath to increase the volume. Try to maintain that volume, keep increasing the volume, more breath, more breath, more breath, more breath. That's one way to increase the elastic potential of the living balloon. Another way to increase the elastic potential of the living balloon is to lengthen, which we've been doing for the last 2 weeks. Bring your hands here. Stand up for a moment, please. Let yourself slouch without squeezing it. Let yourself kind of collapse so your upper ribs collapse onto your pelvis a bit. And let everything stay soft if you can. Some people are unable to let that stay soft. And then squeeze in. You should be able, if you can't get there because the ribs are on top of the pelvis, you can just use fingers and just squeeze in. There should be less tension here. But now lengthen. Bring your thumb to your lower ribs on your sides. Bring your index finger to the pelvis on your sides. Lengthen your rib cage. So from here, soften the knees, lengthen the rib cage as much as you can away from the pelvis. Let your groins stay deep and hollow. Get as much length as you can. And now try to squeeze in. You should find that that lengthening gives a tension that resists the squeeze in of your hands from here. Now let's do both together. Lengthen. Keep the length. And without losing the length, increase the volume, increase the power of your breath, soft knees, hollow groins. Keep the length. Now bring your thumb back to your low ribs on your sides. Index finger more or less where the placement of your pelvis is. Get the sense of the heart anchor. So instead of the lifting of the ribs, allowing your body to shift forward where the back drops or closes, let the heart anchor back. Hug the elbows back at the same time so you're compressing your side ribs. Keep the anchor of the heart, the fullness of the rhomboids behind the heart, in your upper thoracic between the shoulder blades. Deep breath. Keep breathing the armpit ribs wide. Point the elbows back behind you as if you're trying to squeeze the elbows in towards each other, but resist with the heart anchor. 3 more deep breaths. Keep the groins back. Keep as much length as you can. Groins back, pubic bone back. Fullness of the heart. 2 more breaths. Breathe down, contain the low ribs. Let the expansion happen and be moved upwards. And relax the arms. Fist to the crown of your head. Other hand on top of that fist. Soften the knees. So we're not trying to find that length from a straightening of the legs. Knees stay soft. So this is an internal lift. Follow the groins, deep in the groins. Deep in the groins, same as dragging tails, the pelvis slides back a little. Keep the groins deep. Yeah. Push down with the arms. Separate your ribs from your pelvis. Feel the heart anchoring back. It could be more subtle here. A sense of the fullness between the upper shoulder blades at the rhomboids from the heart pulling back. Deep breath. Continue to grow taller from the inside. Notice your differences from side to side. Hollow your right groins more. Deepen your right groins more. Grow your right side taller. Hollow your left groin more. Deepen your left groin more. Grow your left side taller, front and back. Deepen both groins. Lift both sides against the press down. And release, please. Come back to sit for a moment. You should not have found that easy. Okay, good. You should not have found that easy. There's a sense of pressure that's constantly pushing down on us. It can be a friend or a foe. It depends on how we meet it. So part of what we're doing is dancing with gravity, is relating to gravity, is the ability to take this downward pressure, move it through our system, and relate to it in a way that we can redirect it. So we're taking the energy, the momentum, the pressures, bringing them through the system and being able to redirect them in space. That's part of what we're doing. The other part of what we're doing is growing our capacity to remain expanded and remain full, regardless of the forces that are trying to compress. And these can be both physical and emotional pressures. Our bodies respond to emotions. There's very it's a very there's no strong boundary between mind and body in that way. Our emotions are read through our bodies, are experienced through our body, our cognition moves through our body, our intellect moves through our body. So our capacity to withstand and hold against pressures physically is going to mirror itself, especially within this work, to our capacity to stand against pressures emotionally or intellectually or internal pressures. So this work, where we're increasing the demand of the system, we're increasing the capacity, let's say, the capacity for the vessel to hold the light before it shatters, our capacity to look into the mouth of Krishna before we have to look away. And we all have to look away at some point. So we keep increasing the pressure, increasing the pressure. At some point, we feel that collapse happen. And the appropriate place to be right now is right at that edge of taking it to the amount of where you feel something start to go. So whether we lose it in the heart anchor and we lose the back connection, whether we start to lose it in the low belly, whether we feel our hips starting to tuck under and we're losing the deep groins and the dragging tails, that starts to tell us where the chinks in the armor are, where the vessel is going to start to crack. And that's where we put our focus. So the first half or the first weeks of this is developing the capacity to stay and feel. So developing our attentional capacity to stay and feel and be, where is the vessel starting to crack? Where am I starting to lose that pressure? And can I stay there a little longer and focus energy and direction into those places that are starting to let go? Well, the heart anchor seems like the most obvious one. The difficulty of the heart anchor is if it becomes too external. Too external means this. All I've done is change the position of my rib cage from here to here, not really the volume. Changing the heart anchor here is a connection on the front, which you should be able to feel internally without seeing externally. So bring the heart anchor right now. Bring the heart anchor. You could do this part from sitting. Bring a sense of your heart being suctioned back. Imagine that this is the inside of your rib cage, and you're almost able to take the inside of your sternum as if you're trying to pull the inside of your sternum deeper into your body without it being visible on the outside at all. And now keep that. And without letting that go, attempt to lift your chest and broaden your chest without letting that go. Use your breath now to inflate that without losing the sensation of pulling your sternum back towards your spine, and at the same time trying to broaden and lift your chest. And imagine the ratcheting action here. So try to pull your sternum back more, and against that stronger pull, work stronger to keep the opening of your chest even stronger. And as the opening of your chest feels like it's winning more, get more of the internal effort to hold the sternum, hold the heart anchor, hold the rhomboids, and keep going back and forth, finding the maximum capacity of each where they're each at their limit where they try to hold. And relax that. When we begin to bring in more dynamic movement, the heart angle will make more sense. For example, just to give you an idea of what this will look like in dynamic movement. As you go to reach your arm forward, remember we said that there's always movement in two directions, always movement in two directions. So as you go to reach your arm forward, imagine the heart anchor moving in the opposite direction. And this leads to that. So think these ribs here are going to compress inwards as this arm reaches forward. So this moves in as the arm extends outwards. Give that a try. See if you can get the feeling of that. Lift one arm. Imagine the heart moving towards the back of your spine as your arm moves forward. Heart draws in more as the arm moves forward. That's it, Christian. Perfect. That's it. That's it, Gina. Yeah. It's helpful for me. It's helpful for me to actually bring my fingers to my sternum or somewhere in there where I can actually, almost like a tether, one moves forward, one moves back, and in the other direction. That's it. Good, Marching. Can also feel a compression, a bit of a compression in the opposite rib. So if you're reaching forward with the left arm, you'll feel a bit of a compression, a closing or a gathering, let's say, in the right ribs. If you do the opposite, a bit of a compression in the left ribs. We're contralateral creatures. Something moves forward, something moves back. This is the way of our movements in our most basic shapes and our most basic patterns. Let's come down to the floor, please. Let's come down to the floor. You're gonna need enough space to lie down. If you can set your camera up so I can see you, it's helpful. If you don't have the space for that, I understand. Lay down on your back, please. Knees bent, feet flat on the floor. And let yourself just settle into the ground for a moment. Feel the movement of your breath. Walk your shoulders or your shoulder blades or your low ribs away from your pelvis as much as you can without letting your pelvis tuck under. Allow the groins to begin to deepen. Maintain the distance between your low ribs and your pelvis. See if you can wiggle yourself even longer from there. Keep the arms by the sides. Let your fingers point up towards the ceiling so your elbows are down, but your forearms are up. Fingers are pointed to the ceiling. Imagine that your heart is sinking back towards the ground. But even as your heart sinks back towards the ground, the shoulders are rolling towards the ground at the same time. Imagine that time that we're pulling the way that we pull our elbows back, point our elbows back behind us. Maintain the deep groins. The thigh bones are trying to pull into the ground, dragging tails. Contain the low ribs. Breathe the armpit ribs wide. Bring one hand, one fist to the top of your skull. Bring the other hand on top of the fist. Pull down and try to lengthen your center against that pull down. Keep the groins hollow and deep. The low ribs contained. Breathe into the armpit ribs. 4 deep breaths. Notice the difference between right and left side. Notice if your glutes are trying to squeeze or your pelvis is tucking under, keep the groins hollow and deep. 2 more breaths. And relax for a moment. It's not for today for us to correct, but notice the differences when you lay. There are patterns that are available when we're laying down in a different relationship to gravity that aren't available from standing. Different compensations that are concealed from standing become more visible when we're lying down. Begin once more. Deepen the groins. Dragon tongues and dragon tails so the groins deepen. The thigh bones feel like they're lengthening out from deep hips. Lengthen the space between low ribs and pelvis. Even as the groins deepen, you're going to get a sense of the low belly lifting, the heart anchoring, the arms pressing down and into the body, the throat triangle. Now, keeping those, use the power of your breath. Keep the low ribs contained and deep breaths into the living balloon. Expand the armpit ribs. Even here, imagine the halo. The back of the halo drops, even while the heart remains anchored. The front of the halo lifts, the front of the chest attempts to expand, as if the heart can expand itself forward with this pressure. Bring the other hand, the opposite hand that you did last time, to the top of your skull. Wrap around with your other hands. Move to the edge of your capacity until something starts to break down, and notice what starts to break down first. Is it the heart anchor? Is it the containment of the lower, the lift of the low belly? One more breath. And again, let that go. Let it settle. And watch me from where you are. I'm going to attempt the same again, but this time I'm going to attempt to lift one foot at a time and then both feet while maintaining the vessel. This is going to increase the challenge and the difficulty of this exponentially. So it's not going to increase it a little bit, it's going to increase it a lot. So keep that in mind. Maybe at the beginning, what you want to do is just take your heels off and keep the toes on the ground. Even if you can take both of the feet off, but that causes the vessel to constrict and it causes superficial compensation and muscles to squeeze in to hold the shape. That's too far. What we're looking for is that place where we can remain more effortless on the outside and find the holding from that midline and that internal pressure. So we're going to maintain deep groins, the length, containment of the low ribs, breathing into the armpit ribs, maintaining the deep groins, hard anchor, the squeeze into the body, the fullness of the heart on the back, and then slowly try to lift one or both legs. Notice I'm not lifting up here, keeping the feet close to the ground, close to the ground. And then to make this more challenging, it's not to lift the legs higher, it's to slide the feet further away. If I slide far enough away, my body's going to contort its shape. I may lose and flare the ribs. I may have to tuck the pelvis. Somewhere in the vessel is going to start to collapse. I'm looking for that beginning of collapse and then attempting to hold the vessel from these refinements, from these connections at the place it wants to collapse. Look for shake, which may happen. And we'll spend a few breaths there. If you need to rest and bring a foot down or bring both toes down, rest if you've gone too far and the vessel can't hold. So when you're ready, if you're not there already, deepen the groins. Lengthen ribs and pelvis away from each other. Find the hard anchor. Upper arms press down into the ground. Forearms point up towards the ceiling. Chest opens while maintaining the heart anchor connection into the ground. Deep breath. Contain the low ribs. Keep the hollowed groins. Let your feet, either one foot or both feet, let them become lighter. Maybe the heels start to lift up away from the ground. Notice how your body wants to respond, how the vessel wants to respond. Increase the pressure. Maybe lift the toes as well. Keep the ankles soft, the feet soft. You're lifting from an internal place. Maintain the pressure on the vessel. If you want to slide feet a little further away from the pelvis. It's going to increase it substantially. Try to keep the same shape, the same connections. 2 more deep breaths. If you can stay there longer, stay there longer. If you need to rest right now, bring feet down. If you're still okay, you can bring one toe down. Keep the other toe lifted. Notice the difference bringing one leg up. Try to maintain the shape. And then switch legs. Both feet down, please. Again, resist the urge to adjust right away. Let yourself stay with this. One more time on your own exploration. I will time it. When you're ready, organize the vessel. Hollow groins, fine length, contain the low ribs, anchor the heart. Press the arms back so the chest is trying to open against the anchoring of the heart. Keep the back of the head heavy. Puff your cheeks this time. Keep the puffy cheeks, maybe even find the throat triangle. Breathe deep. Start to take the weight off of the feet. How you lift your feet, how far, whether it's one or both feet, that is on you. The timer has started. Try to keep whatever lift, try to keep yourself in the level of intensity that's right at the edge of the capacity of the vessel for the next 30 seconds. For the next 30 seconds, this is too easy. Take your feet further, maintain the vessel. 20 seconds. Challenge yourself a little further to the point of collapse for the next 10 seconds. Let yourself shake. 4, 3, 2, 1. Come down, please. Again, resist the urge to adjust. Taking the arms down, but no adjusting. Take a long swallow. Again, try to follow the swallow all the way down. Get a sense of the pathway of swallow and breath is swelling from these efforts. Your feeling of it, your experience of this cylinder, the central home. Now, with your eyes closed if possible, imagine yourself or feel it as you start to slowly make your way back to sit as a movement of the central cylinder, as a bend and a fullness, till you're bringing the cylinder from horizontal slowly back to upright, as if you're inflating it back to upright. When you're ready, go ahead and do that. Come slowly, keeping the connection to that central cylinder, that feeling of the central cylinder. And once you get to your seat with no other cues, imagine that you can inflate the central cylinder as this internal balloon that holds you upright, that holds you vertically. Get the quality of what it feels like to sit from that place. Almost as if you can rest. Something in the middle still holds, but almost as if you can rest around it without releasing it. That remains, but everything else can soften and drape around that. It is 37 after. Right now, let's come back. Let's take our break and let's come back at 44. Let's come back at 44 after. 44 after. Again, move slowly. Feel what this is like as you move with it. Notice what's changed. Martine, please give a sign if you're back already. There you are. I saw your question, Michael. Is that what you wanted to? There you are. The question is, in the lying down that we just did, does the lower back have to kiss the ground, or can there be some arch and distance from the ground? There can be arch and distance from the ground. You're not artificially attempting to flatten your low back into the ground. If anything, what you're trying to do is you're trying to use the pressures to maintain a sense of fullness in the low back. You can say it that way, but the natural curves of the spine are going to give some kind of arch and lift to the low back. So you're not artificially trying um, to do that. And on the contrary side, you're not artificially trying to round your low back and tuck the pelvis under in order to maintain the connection. I think maintain more of a feeling of integration than an actual connection um, to that. And as we go deeper into the course, I will be watching and seeing this is the experiential. This is what this stuff feels like, and letting you experience it before I give you too many directions and markers from the outside at this point. So when we start to look at each other doing these things, we'll talk about what it looks like, because there's an energetic quality that's different when the pressures are there, as opposed to attempting to move the bones to artificially create the touching of the low back to the ground. One more detail before we move on. A common compensational pattern when we're attempting to create and maintain this length is to borrow from the shoulders, either to borrow from the shoulders or to push into the legs. Not that these are necessarily negative things or movements that you should never do, but as we're attempting to create the tension and find the difficulty in being able to access this internal lift, we're trying to constrain, and so constraining, not letting ourselves do certain things. So we're going to constrain. We can't lift the shoulders, not straighten the knees to push into the ground. So we're forced to find a way to find that lift internally, and instead of using these external supports to do it. Come to sit. Come to sit, but sit in a way that sit on the ground if you have that available to you, because you're going to need to straighten your legs up. You bring your feet out in front of you. This one might be easier for you to see. The feet out in front of you, the heels are on the ground, the toes are slightly lifted. From here, keeping the heels heavy. Again, not a lot of squeeze effort in the legs. You can bring your hands to your knees. Get a sense of the deepening groins. From the deepening groins, lifting the low ribs off of the pelvis. Now keep that. Bring the legs back in almost into a little cross. It doesn't have to be a full cross. Just bring the legs back in so the legs are more relaxed. Keep the hollowing. Contain the low ribs. Stay as tall as you can. Lean back slightly. Let the legs remain heavy. So tendency can be to try to hold the knees up. Let the legs remain heavy. Lengthen low ribs. Keep the heart anchor. Find the tortoise shell. If you can bring fingers to ribs, squeeze the elbows back. Keep the lean back. Keep the length, the hollow. Take your leg that's in front, your right leg. Keep the heel heavy on the floor. Keep the hollowing, and let your right foot slide along the floor towards straight. And then from that hollowing, as if you can hollow and hollow to pull your heel back in, hollow to pull your heel back in. And again, keep the length, keep the hollow, and let your leg slide along the floor as you extend it. And imagine that the hollowing, almost as if you had a rope from the heel into the hollowing of your right low belly, of your right groin. Pull that in, do it once more. Slide the leg, keep the length, keep the length, keep the constraint, keep breathing into the side ribs. And one more time, pull from the low belly into the heel. And then lean forward for a moment. Take some of the pressure off. Breathe. Again, if you're finding this extremely challenging to do, it's because it is. It's not because you're doing anything wrong. The constraints themselves are trying to guide the movement into deeper places. That's what the constraints are there for. If I was just to tell you be here and straighten your leg and bring it back in, that would be likely a very easy thing for you to do because your body would go into familiar ways of creating that action, familiar compensational patterns. We're avoiding those compensational patterns and asking something that's deeper down, that's been asleep or dormant for a while to come to the surface and take its rightful place there again. Switch the cross of your leg. So left leg forward in this soft cross. Lean back slightly. And deepen the groins. As you deepen the groins, one way to know if you're deepening them enough, it should feel like your sitting bones are getting more contact with the ground. They're getting heavier into the ground. Now keep that deepening, find your length. Keep the fingers, ribs, and pelvis. Hug the elbows back in. And strain the low ribs. Widen into the upper ribs. Keep the heart anchor. Let the leg stay heavy now. Keep the left leg heavy. Keep the left low belly hollow, left groin hollow. Slide the left foot along the floor towards straight. Don't lose the length as you do this. And then as if your low belly, your groin had a rope to pull on the heel, as if you can hollow that place even further to pull the foot in. Do that. Keep the length. Slide. Lean back a little more. Pull with your low belly, your deep groin. If you're shaking, that's normal. Keep the length, slide it out. Pull on the heel, and then one more time. And then come forward. And again, resist the urge to adjust. And let the outer body drape over this inner experience. Anywhere extra that's holding legs, thighs, hip flexors. Again, let those parts drape. You're going to come to all fours in a moment, but watch before you do. You're going to keep your knees slightly wider than your hips, hands slightly wider than your shoulders. Hands are going to be soft, elbows are going to be soft. So instead of having the hands right underneath the shoulders where the elbows are locked, bring the hands slightly in front. Here. Deepen the groins. Lengthen pelvis and ribs away from each other. So we're getting the same length here, different relationship to gravity here. Finding the heart anchor, the constraint of the low ribs. Keeping the groins hollow. Take the right fingers forward, still on the ground. And take the left knee off of the ground. This is the right, so let's do the right. Left fingers forward. And keep the toes lightly on the ground as I move the foot back. I'm going to keep just as little weight as I can, knee soft, elbow soft, as little weight as I can on the foot and on the hand. Almost no weight on them. So all the weight is in right hand, left knee. And from here, I'm going to try to find the same connections. Hollowed groins, length, hard anchor, constraint to the low ribs, breathing into the armpit ribs. So go ahead and come to all fours. Hands slightly forward to the shoulders. Hollow the groins back, deepen the groins. Lengthen ribs away from pelvis. Keep as much length as you can. Imagine your tortoise shell here, so you're pulling your low ribs over your sacrum without losing the deepening of the groins. Keep the heart anchor. Bring your left fingers forward, lightly resting on the ground, your right toes back. Extend your right leg back so your right knee's off the ground. Barely any weight on your right toes and your right big toes. Now attempt to maintain the shape of your upper body. Soften your right elbow. Follow the groins. Lengthen the ribs away from the pelvis. And strain the low ribs. Deepen your breath into your armpit ribs. 3 more breaths. Less weight on finger and toe. Challenge this here. See where the vessel wants to let go. 2 more breaths. Gina, see if you can take your pelvis back a little further. There. Yes, use that as the following pelvis. Take 1 more deep breath there. And pause for a moment. Sit back on your heels. Resist the urge to adjust. Come back down, please. Whichever side you did, we're going to do the other side, just in case there was some confusion on which side to do. Take the hips slightly behind the knees. It's going to help at the beginning. If you try to hollow your groins with your hips in front of your knees, that's what I was pointing out to Gina. If you try to hollow your groins or deepen your groins from this place, it's more difficult to do if your hips are slightly behind your knees. It's easier to get that sense of deepened groins. And slightly in front of the shoulders, length from pelvis to ribs. Breath, the right fingers forward, lightly. Maintain the shape, so right arm, right shoulder is soft, right knee, right foot are soft. Take the toe back, so there's barely any weight on the toe. Soften the left elbow. And strain the low ribs. Keep the fullness of the heart. Even from here, even in the arms in this position, imagine that your outer arms are still hugging into your ribs and your breath is trying to push into your armpit ribs from here. 3 more deep breaths. Less and less weight on fingers and toes. Maintain the shape, maintain the fullness. Expand the vessels. 2 more breaths. And come back and release, please. Sit on your heels for a moment. Resist the urge to adjust. And again, stand up slowly. Keeping your connection to the sense of the midline, to the cylinder. Soften the knees. Find your connection to midline. And take a long swallow. Notice what you feel. Prepare for the iso lunge. Whether you drop down from the top or lift up from the floor. What you'll keep in mind for this iso lunge is the long belly, the deep groins, the long belly, the deep groins. Bring one foot back, one foot forward. You're ready, come into it. Keep the sense of the deep groins, the long belly. Hug the elbows back. Breathe deep, look forward. Allow your back thigh to extend out of the hip. Deep breaths. Go as deep as you can. Drop the back knee as low as you can, close to the floor. Keep the deep groins, the long belly. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Come out. Stand. Do not adjust. Other side. Fingers to ribs and pelvis if you can do it. If not, support yourself by holding the thigh or the wall. And deep groins. Long belly. Squeeze the elbows in. Anchor the heart back. Allow anything superficial. Allow the back thigh to let go. Deep breaths. Long belly. Keep the length. Relax the shoulders. 4. Go lower. 3. Keep the length. 2. 1. Come out. Stand. Resist the urge to adjust. Bring your fingers back, thumb and index finger. Hug the elbows back. Deep groins, long through the belly, soft knees. Relax the shoulders as you stay long. Keep the groins deep. Keep the knees soft. A long swallow. Try to follow the swallow as far down the long body as you can. Shift your weight into your left foot, away from your right foot. Keeping all the connections. Long belly, deep groins. Keep shifting the weight. Soft left knee. Take more and more weight off of your right foot. Keep the long belly. Maybe the right foot lifts away from the ground. Maybe the heavy leg can lift without losing the deep groins, without losing the long belly. Bring the foot down. Let the cylinder move towards center. Find your swallow. Shift more of your weight over your right foot. Notice what wants to adjust and change. Keep the length, deep groins. More and more weight away from the left foot. Soft right knee. Deep groins, low belly. Maybe the foot lifts. Heavy left leg. And bring the foot down. Center again. Hug the elbows back so the Ribs have something to expand against. One more time each side, shift. Keep the connections as you shift. Long belly, deep groins. Start to take weight off of your right leg. Right ankle is relaxed. Maybe the toes lift. Maybe the knee starts lifting up a little higher. Maybe the thigh comes parallel to the ground from how much you can lift it. And bring the leg down. Shift the weight. Maintain your sense of center. Take more and more weight off of the left. Maintain the length, the deep groins. More and more weight away from the left foot. Can you lift the thigh higher and higher without losing the connections? Notice what wants to collapse first. Good. And pause. Both feet down. See if you can notice what your strategy, what the common strategy is without thinking about it, how your body wanted to manage that movement. One of the ways that the body can manage that movement is as I shift to go to lift the leg, my upper body can tilt away from the leg as I'm lifting it to counterbalance. I'm exaggerating this, but to lift it this way. What if I was trying to maintain the verticality of the midline of the central cylinder in order to lift the leg? What would I need to do in order to lift without tilting away from the leg to lift? Try that once more and see if there's something that you can do to maintain the verticality. Is there a way that you can spiral? Is there a way that you can turn the cylinder? Attempt to turn the cylinder, turn the midline, twist the midline towards the lifting leg. So as you start to lift the leg, let the long belly, the central cylinder, spiral towards the leg that's lifting. Spiral towards the leg that's lifting. That's it. Let the knee stay soft as you lift the leg, so you're not lifting a solid extended knee. The knee can lift, so you're lifting a bent knee, a bent knee. That's it. Good. Come back to sit, please. Good, Gina. Just take a moment. The flexion tortoise, so the moving tortoise. And this one, the arms are going to stay relaxed. Deep groins and length. And those are going to be the things that you're going to keep in mind for this. And only those things. Everything else is going to organize around these 2 points. The hollow groins. Actually, one more thing. Everything that we did, the new stuff that we've done today. So the hollow groins, the long body, and the hard anchor. Arms are going to stay soft. You're going to use puffy cheeks. And we're going to move the tortoise. Now the tortoise is going to want to get smaller. It's going to want to get shorter from this. So the effort is going to be, can I still flex and extend from within the constraints? So from within the constraints of the vessel, from within the constraints of the ritual, maintaining length, hollow groins, hard anchor, can I still you don't have to move through this quickly. You can move through this slowly. The length is going to be the priority and the hard anchor going to be the priority. The the deepened groins or the hollowed groins is to make sure that you're not tucking your pelvis under in order to artificially flex the upper portions of the spine. So go ahead and find a heavy seat, puffy cheeks, deepen the groins. Find as much length as you can without using the shoulders. Close your eyes, let your senses draw inwards. Let the arms remain heavy so you're resting your wrists on your knees or on your thighs. The arms are not a part of this. Not at this point, anyway. And now, when you're ready, begin with this cycle of breath. When you exhale, let your back fill more. Keep the anchoring of the heart when you inhale. Let the chest lift. Keep the lift of the chest, the length of the body as you exhale. Maintain as much length through the long body as you move back and forth between flexion and extension of the spine. Let the movements of the spine come a little bigger so they can be visible from the outside. Make them bigger so they can be visible from the outside. You're still moving against it. So there's an internal resistance to not letting the heart collapse in the back, but you're making your movements bigger. Make them bigger until it feels like you're not sure if you can maintain the connections. Doesn't mean you have to maintain the shape, but maintaining the effort to the shape, maintaining the effort to hold the connections as you go back and forth. Keeping as much length as you can, getting longer through each cycle. This should be fatiguing at a place inside of you. Two more breaths. And then keep the length as you settle into stillness. For the second round, we're going to change the pattern of the breath. So instead of it being exhaling and inhaling, we're going to do it backwards. We're going to inhale and then exhale as we come forward. So inhale, exhale. And obviously my shape is changing. And the amount that I can keep the hard anchor from this place is more than I can keep the hard anchor from this place. but I can still move within those ranges as long as I can feel the attempt to hold is still integrated. As long as I don't, okay, I just lost complete hold of it. I just lost my length. So maintaining, but still challenging it from there. So find it once more. Deep groins, soft and heavy arms that aren't involved, heavy elbows, length, puffy cheeks. Keep the length. And now as you inhale, let your heart anchor even more. Maintain the lift, maintain the deep groins. As you exhale, maintain the heart anchor. Let the chest open, the spine come forward. And keep moving with your breath. Stay as long as you can. There should be a sense of continuous tension from the effort back and forth. That the tension and the length does not get lost. That the effort is if you're moving against a resistance the entire time. 4 more breaths. Two more breaths. Again, and settle and listen. Come to stand, please. You may have seen this, the external movement, many places before. Feet are going to be slightly wider than hips. Again, the knees are going to remain soft, so your weight feels like it's being given to the ground underneath you. Arms heavy and passive. Deep groins, length of the belly. Those are the two markers to maintain. Now, we spoke a little bit, we'll speak more of it on another day, that movements in fluidus initiate as close to the center as possible. We're talking about joint sequencing. Movements don't initiate at the arms, they initiate at the spine and ripple out into the arms. This is a practice that's going to focus on that. Arms stay heavy, and it's the movement of the spine that's going to swing the arms. But now, the long belly, the deep groins are going to maintain, so we do not lose length. The head and the eyes stay forward. The long body, deep groins, passive arms. Eventually, once you get more practiced at this, there's a lot less rotation that's apparently visible from the outside. If you're thinking of your body as one cylinder wrapping around another cylinder, the inner cylinder is more rigid. The outer cylinder is being resisted by the inner cylinder. Long belly. Keep as much length as you can, deepening groins. 4 more breaths. Let the arms be as passive as you can make them, as heavy and outside of your control as you can make them. 2 more breaths. As long as you can make yourself. Let the arms slow. Again, stillness. Allow the volume to be turned up on the sensations. Resist the urge to adjust. As you've noticed, a lot of the postures that we do, at least here now, a lot of the postures that we've done so far are shapes that can be mimicked relatively easily from the outside. So this first third of our time together has not been complexity. It's been depth and simplicity. It's been the ability to maintain coherence and deep connection within the depth of an experience. We're going to do our standing practice. You're going to bring your hands over your head, one fist, but this time instead of actively pulling down, you're just going to let the weight of your arms be there. Let the weight of your arms be there. The knees are going to be soft. And we will be here for some minutes. I will tell you when it's halfway through so you can switch which fist is on the crown and which hand is on top. So the arms remain heavy. Let your head have the weight of your arms. So you're not actively pushing, but you're resting your arms on your skull. So the effort of the arms remaining up is being taken by the rest of the body. Find your center cylinder, the long body, the deep groins. And then see what you can do here to hold the arms in this position as effortlessly as you can. So the idea is not to make this hard on the arms, it's to align the body so the arms can be held almost weightless in this position. And then once you find that place, breathe, continue to relax the shoulders. Orient and identify with the central cylinder with the midline. Keep relaxing the shoulders. Allow the midline to hold you. Allow the midline to hold your arms, not the shoulders. Another minute before we switch arms. Switch the hands, the other fist is down, the other hand on top. Find the connection through the midline. So the weight of your arms can be held effortless here. One more minute. Begin to release, but do it slowly. Close your eyes and let the arms move, let the wrists move. And then settle into stillness. And take a long swallow. Hmm. Take the arms out, soften the knees. Let the elbows be heavy, but almost as the inner elbows is spiraling forward. This is a movement that wants to close the back. As you soften the knees, hollow the groins, deepen them, connect to the heart anchor, length through your sides. Without losing the heart anchor, lift the chest as high as you can towards the sky, even if that means that you're fighting against the heart anchor, the fullness of the back. Maintain the effort towards it, but lift up higher. Deep breath, maintain your length. And as long as you can from the center, pelvis away from ribs, ribs away from pelvis. Deep breath. 2 more minutes. One more minute. And begin to come out slowly. And again, stillness. When you're not building something new, we are finding what was scattered and returning it to coherence. You're ready. You can come back to sit, please. For our last moments together, I would ask you to find someone's eyes. It's going to be small. At least imagine that you can see their eyes. Someone here, find their eyes. And find their left eye. And for the next minute, just keep your attention there. Draw a slow and deep breath in. And let its waters pour out slowly. I would suggest, we haven't talked about this much. We'll talk about this more in the coming days. But I would suggest writing after these experiences together, or as we move towards making it a regular practice. And it's not writing for performance. It's not writing to it's not writing what you know, but it's writing from a question, writing from a curiosity. It can be as simple as something that you've experienced that doesn't have names or words, a question that you have about what something is. It's writing as an attempt to discover what's already in you, but that you're not sure of. We talked about the othering. It's almost as if you're trying to get these other parts of you to express themselves and to get out of their way. So if writing is something that you do, then do it. If it's not, set a timer for 2 minutes, and for 2 minutes just write. No pauses, no breaks, no breath to see if what you're writing is good. Even if you start writing the alphabet or the first words that pop into your mind, just write. Just write. Thank you for your presence. Thank you for your commitment to this work. If there's observations that you'd like to share, questions that you have, please send them to me directly or share them with the group. And watch your dreams. This was more happens beneath the surface in these practices, even when a lot happens at the surface. So for now, that is our time together for today. Yeah. Enjoy the rest of your day or the rest of your evening.
Thank you.
Thank you, Christian.
Thank you.
Thank you, Robert.
Thank you.
Marcin. Good to see you.
Thanks, Carlos. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you, Michael. Hi, Gina. Good to see all of you.
Good to see you as well.